Why a Grammy producer said, Jungkook doesn't need autotune. Diplo, a Grammy-winning producer, has worked with some of the biggest names in global music. Justin Bieber, Beyoncé, Dua Lipa, artists known for world-class recordings, polished vocals, and years of experience. So when that same producer suddenly focused on one BTS member during a 2026 interview, fans paid attention. Because instead of talking about BTS as a whole, he stopped at one name. And then he said something producers almost never say. According to reports covering the interview, Diplo described Jungkook as having a voice that doesn't need autotune. At first, that sounds like a simple compliment, but the more you understand how producers think, the more unusual that statement becomes. Because the real question isn't what he said. The real question is, what exactly did he hear that made him say it? To understand why that comment stood out, you first have to understand who was saying it. Diplo has spent decades producing and developing music at the highest level of the industry. He has worked with artists across pop, electronic music, hip-hop, and global mainstream markets. People like Justin Bieber, Beyoncé, and Dua Lipa have all recorded music connected to projects he helped create. This is someone who listens to singers differently from the average listener. Fans hear emotion, producers hear details. They listen for pitch consistency, timing, breath control. How many takes are usable? How much correction is needed after recording? And perhaps most importantly, whether a singer can repeatedly deliver the same emotion without losing technical control. That is why Diplo's comment is interesting, because he wasn't speaking like a fan. He was speaking like a producer. In the same interview, Diplo described the Era Wrong project as one of the craziest projects he had ever worked on and suggested that it could surprise people around the world. The discussion was mainly about BTS creativity and the scale of the project. Yet in the middle of that larger conversation, he unexpectedly shifted his attention to Jungkook's voice. And that moment may reveal more than a prepared compliment ever could, because it sounded spontaneous, not rehearsed, not promotional. Just a producer reacting to what he heard. And if we follow the question we started with, what exactly did he hear? The answer may be found in the qualities that professionals repeatedly mention when they talk about Jungkook. What's perhaps even more interesting is that Diplo's reaction does not exist in isolation. Over the years, different professionals have pointed to different aspects of Jungkook's artistry. Some focused on his tone, others highlighted his versatility. Some praised his live stability, while others talked about his ability to communicate emotion inside the recording booth. Yet, despite evaluating completely different things, many arrived at surprisingly similar conclusions. And that pattern matters. Why do experienced professionals keep responding to him this way? One answer may be versatility. During his solo era, Jungkook moved between very different vocal styles. Seven relied on smooth phrasing, controlled dynamics, and effortless pop delivery. 3D required rhythmic precision and a different vocal attitude. Standing Next to You demanded stronger projection, retro-inspired vocal colors, and powerful live execution. Yet all three songs succeeded globally despite requiring different approaches from the singer. Seven surpassed 1 billion Spotify streams at record-breaking speed for a Korean solo artist, while Standing Next to You earned widespread praise for both its commercial success and demanding live performances. That adaptability is something producers value because versatility reduces limitations inside the studio. But versatility alone is not enough. There is another quality that producers often respect even more than natural ability: preparation. Many of Jungkook's strongest performances begin long before a microphone is turned on. Across BTS documentaries, behind-the-scenes content, and recording footage released over the years, he has repeatedly been shown refining details that most listeners would never notice. Sometimes it is the pronunciation of a single word. Sometimes it is the emotional tone of a phrase. Sometimes it is finding a delivery that feels more honest rather than simply more powerful. Talent can impress people once. Preparation is what allows someone to do it over and over again. Behind-the-scenes footage from BTS recording sessions and Jungkook's solo work often shows him experimenting with different tones, emotional textures, pronunciation choices, and delivery styles. Rather than settling for the first correct take, he often searches for the version that communicates the strongest feeling. Several professionals who have worked with Jungkook over the years have described him as unusually prepared in the recording booth, capable of delivering multiple usable takes while maintaining consistency and emotional intensity. Yet the reaction from professionals often remains remarkably similar. And there is another reason professionals often trust Jungkook's vocals. What happens on stage, studio recordings can be refined. Live performances cannot hide as much. Several professionals who have worked with Jungkook over the years have described him as unusually prepared in the recording booth, capable of delivering multiple usable takes while maintaining consistency and emotional intensity. Yet the reaction from professionals often remains remarkably similar. And there is another reason professionals often trust Jungkook's vocals. What happens on stage, studio recordings can be refined. Live performances cannot hide as much. Throughout BTS concerts, shows, and solo performances, Jungkook has built a reputation for maintaining vocal stability while executing physically demanding choreography. He is often singing while dancing, running, jump-changing positions, and then immediately returning to difficult vocal passages. Performance analysts and vocal coaches have frequently highlighted his breath management, endurance, and recovery speed during live stages. For producers, that matters because it demonstrates that the technique is not dependent on studio conditions. It works under pressure, which brings us back to the original question: the discipline to keep refining details long after most people would stop, the consistency to deliver under pressure, and the ability to make technical skill feel effortless to the listener. Diplo simply reacted to what he heard. But sometimes the most revealing compliments are the ones professionals make without realizing how much they are revealing. Because Jungkook has a voice that doesn't need auto-tune is not really a statement about technology. It's a statement about trust, the kind of trust that comes from years of preparation, years of consistency, years of proving, again and again, that the performance will be there when it matters most. And perhaps that's why comments like this continue to resonate. Not because they tell fans something new, but because they quietly confirm what experienced professionals have been seeing for years.